Aloha, I'm Felicia Miller Johnson, and I have work life interviews with career professionals that become an all intuitive conversation. Aloha, welcome to another webcast of All Intuitive Conversation. And today I am connecting with Paulomi Campbell. So let's bring her to the screen. Aloha, Paulomi.
Aloha. How
How
are
are
you?
you? I am well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm excited to connect with you today. So, as a lot of the viewers are familiar, that you and I have not met
Mm-hmm.
before. So, this is the first time that we are speaking and connecting.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I do is I kind of go to your LinkedIn profile that kind of gives me a little insight about you. So, the first thing that kind of stood up for me was, are you in North Carolina?
Yes, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Tell me more
Yeah.
about that. Are you from the Carolinas?
No, I'm not at all. I'm from the Midwest. Actually, I'm from Michigan. Um, so this is maybe I don't know. It's been a lot of moves. So we came. The last place was Nashville, and then we were in Milwaukee, and so we keep moving because of my husband's job.
Uh-huh.
So the last stop has been Charlotte. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I about to say, so I caught the we, so it's with your husband
husband.
in his job. So how is that moving for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of been my situation too because of school I had an internship and fellowship, and so my personality is to I like change, I like new places, and so that's been okay for me. It's not necessarily where I thought we would move to, but I do like I'm kind of a free spirit that way.
Mm-hmm.
I like to try new things and try new cities, and it becomes more challenging now that I have kids because I know that it's good for them to have a home base.
Uh-huh.
But for me, I kind of like that idea that we can move, and I don't like that settled feeling.
Yes. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we're already connected for that because I have a military
Yeah.
background. So my dad was in
Okay.
the army, so we moved around from various places.
Yeah.
And it's the whole, like every 4 years kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So then when I met my husband, who's from Arkansas here, that's when we moved here. And so it's also something similar to what you said when you
Oh,
when you made the statement about wasn't necessarily where I thought
yeah.
we would move and live.
Yeah.
Just because I just had some judgments about the South. Even though I was born in the South, I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in the East Coast.
Hmm.
So, what's the story behind you when you mentioned this is not the place where you thought we would be?
Yeah, so when I met my husband, well, for me, even before my husband, I always had visions of myself being in California specifically.
Mhm.
And I tried very hard to get there through my internship and various, I thought with that I would be able to get out there. And I actually had an interview and but it's a match system. And so I don't know the behind the scenes what happened. But basically,
Mhm.
I ended up in Atlanta through my internship. And so that began my journey being in the South, which
Okay.
it's not somewhere that I ever visioned myself to be. And it still doesn't feel like it really connects with my soul, I guess. And so, but I'm here trying to make the best of. I did like Atlanta.
Mhm.
Charlotte's a different story for me, but Atlanta, I did like, and I actually felt like I could live there.
Mhm.
But again, got married. My husband's job took us to Milwaukee, which at first I didn't really want to be at either. But I ended up feeling more connected to Milwaukee than I did Nashville and Charlotte. So
Okay.
yeah,
So tell me about your soul because you mentioned that. Where do you think, or what is it about California where you think that's where your soul just
yeah.
has a desire to be?
it just feels like I'm at home. That I feel it in the air. It's hard to describe. I just feel like it's more open minded. There's just a different vibe when I go out west. And I'd only been to California, and my husband is also very much wanted to be on the West Coast too, and he's more Montana and wants to be out, like in nature, which is
Hmm.
also something that I want, but more so. But I need more people than he does. So, but so I think it just felt more laid back, more open minded. More people are more outdoors. So I don't know. I just felt more at home out
Hmm.
there than I do anywhere else. So we went. Then he introduced me to Portland and Seattle, and so that's where I really visioned myself in Portland. And I didn't think it was as big, and I just liked the mountains, and it's just beautiful. So and I'm also vegan, and so that's very dear to my heart. So the environment and all of that, it just felt like it just really fits me. So
Okay,
yeah.
so the whole lifestyle. It's interesting because right away what came out with the cards was a man holding the heart. And so when you were talking about the whole, you met your husband, you were moving in the whole nature and the outdoors and just being connected with him.
Mm-hmm.
But then what came out again was a man holding a coin. And so it was just like, okay, interesting. That you got like both of them, which is 43 and 45. So it's like connected with his job and the whole money thing and all that and
Mm-hmm.
with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
But then it came out also with the goddess of the moon. And
Mm-hmm.
just what I felt from the energy of this is sometimes even though they're dark places of what you didn't necessarily think you may be,
Mm-hmm.
like you're holding up the light, like, okay, what is the light in this whole situation? So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of leads me to this next question for you. What is the light about living in North Carolina for you?
That's a good question. Um, I think um, I think I recently started my own practice,
Mm,
and that has been definitely the light for in the sense that I've always been wanting to start my own practice, but I always felt like I needed to do it in the West Coast,
mhm,
just because it's holistic. It's not the traditional type of psychotherapy practice, and so I didn't think it would go well in the South. And I was being
mhm,
judgmental, but that's just what and I think for me, it was just like, this is where you live, and sort of like what you said, just be the light and see. And instead of like judging and saying no, you have to be in the ideal situation that you think. So it's, I guess, just trusting that there's a reason why I'm
yes,
here, and it's not so much the location. It's which. So I think that's maybe that sort of realization has clicked on that sort of light that I can still be me even though I'm not in the West Coast.
exactly. So aligning with that, Paulomi,
Yeah.
because, like you said, I had judgments about the South, myself. I've been here, but like
Mm-hmm.
when we came here in Little Rock, their whole story about the Little Rock Nine and going to Center High School. And I remember saying to my
Mm-hmm.
husband, "I'm like, that's where you want to take me? You
Yeah.
didn't want the nine black kids going to school? Like, really? Like, is
Yeah.
this what we're doing?"
Right.
But then this became part of my whole journey of
Mm-hmm.
coming out, spiritual awareness and all that in the South, in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
Belt. Like, this is,
Mm-hmm.
am I going to be ostracized, and just having
Yeah.
all that, but all that awareness with that. And it's interesting because it's like what you say is where you're planted. So like having moved around, one of the places I used to live was Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my frustration moments, I, had this moment with Emmanuel was like, okay, you're gonna have to show me. And one of the things that he showed me was that he took me to like a Time magazine article one day. And in it, it's the assessment of happiness of
Mm-hmm.
where you of the United States, of the 50 states and where you live. And I used to live in Hawaii, and Hawaii was ranked number one.
Mm-hmm.
They had a specific call out for Arkansas is ranked as 49. And I laughed and I said, "Oh, okay. You have a sense of humor." So basically, if you're saying if you're going to do coaching and if you're wanting to bring this light and happiness, you're going
Yeah.
to be somewhere where it's really needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
That's,
said, "Okay." But
yeah.
I got it, right? But
Right.
like you said, it's so easy where you think like it's accepted and understood, it's easier in the flow.
Hmm.
But this helps to bring about more of our abilities because it's where we're needed to be able to
Exactly.
expand and help other individuals.
Yeah.
So, with that, tell me more about your coaching. What makes it different? What is, what was the reservation about? Is this going to be well received in the South? Tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. No, so I'm a psychologist, and I've been working in, sort of, I guess, traditional, well, hospital settings.
Hmm.
And the emphasis is very much on the disease model, so finding out what's wrong with people, and
Hmm.
diagnosing, and that sort of thing. And that never really sat well with me. I mean, that's how I was trained, like to know the DSM and to know, all the criteria for depression and but I didn't see people that way, and I don't see myself that way. Like, we're just all very complex with complex stories, and it's just not as simple as putting a manual in front of you and diagnosing you. Um,
Hmm.
so that's always been in the back of my mind, and wanting to do. I didn't know what it was, but I started reading about a particular psychologist who's a holistic psychologist, and she had similar feelings that I did about diagnosing, and just really saw that it's just so much more than just the symptoms. And
Hmm.
that's what I really resonated with. And um, so my last job was at the cancer. I work with cancer patients. That's what my background has been.
Hmm.
And the pandemic hit, and I was expected to work and take care of my two kids at home, and I just couldn't do both. And so
Hmm.
I quit my job, and I just used that as I mean, at first it was really difficult. Like, that was the first time I haven't worked in a long time. So it was just kind of like identity crisis. And I didn't want to be a stay at home mom ever. So, yeah, so it was really, place, like, it wasn't a good place for me at all. But then I was just like, okay, just start writing and
Yes.
start working on your website, and, try to turn this situation into something that you can actually, follow your vision. And so
Yes.
that's what I did. I just started writing and writing and writing, and I got a web designer, and sort of sent him that information and designed my website. And that's how it all came about. And so, yeah, I'm working with clients, in a very much of a way that I'm a guide, and I'm not somebody that's like, in the belief that you can heal yourself. So
Hmm.
that's how so I'm not diagnosing patients. I'm not using the traditional psychotherapy model. I'm coming from their strengths, and that basically we're all good. We just I mean, a lot of us have gone through a lot of trauma. And so I just really see mental health issues as just dysregulated nervous system. Not that there's anything wrong with us, that we just need the tools to heal.
Girl.
Yeah. So I can tell that you're feeling this. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm like, got all this whole goosebumps because then when
Yeah.
like what came out was the concept of anchor. And this was the whole steadying, and like exactly what you were talking about
Mm-hmm.
when you were like, okay, I'm not able to do this job and still care for my children
Mm-hmm.
in my family life the way that I wanted it to be. But then, like you said, it was a little, as the word says, unsteadying
Mm-hmm.
of like, how do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I was right there with you. Like
Mm.
I'm like I'm what the judgment. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm like I'm a business
Yeah.
person. I
Exactly.
get things done. Like I am just not suited for that. And so that happened to me as well, to where
Mm-hmm.
you have this whole transition from your job. But that was where some of my shadow work came in. It's like, well, what is the judgment that you have? What is the
Mm-hmm.
expectation that you think that you're more valuable if
Mm-hmm.
you're working quote unquote outside of the home?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like the trigger was is I'm not ready for what comes next. And I knew for me, I had never saw myself at the time as an entrepreneur. I may have a side hustle, something that I did,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as in having my own business, I had grew up with the expectations that, you have a safe government job, you work
Right.
for someone else, and that was it. So it was very, unsteadying
Mm-hmm.
for me. But like for you, it's like you knew, okay, I want something different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not resonating with how this is before, but it took this whole pandemic
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to go and start my own business in the midst of a place that, you're like, this is not the surrounding that I
Exactly.
would have picked
Mm-hmm.
with that. So I love that. And
Mm-hmm.
so then what also had came out was that, and this one popped out really far, was like good fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And it talked about the trigger something that there's not enough. But the true statement is that I attract abundance. So the question that I have for you is that now that you're doing this,
Mm-hmm.
your business, how do you see abundance in your life today?
That's a good question. Well, I think I need to just say that I've launched my business, but it hasn't really gone anywhere because the other side of it is that I don't have the business background and the marketing
Mhm.
skills and all that. So I'm out there, but I haven't been able to sort of know where in Charlotte to like market myself and to let myself be seen by others and to know what the kind of practice that that I've sort of launched. And
Mhm.
so, in terms of abundance, um, I think that's what it is. It's that it's not so much about that I even want. I just want to be able to provide the. How am I trying to say? I just want people to kind of buy into what I believe in. If
Mhm.
that's what I see as abundance, more not so much how much money I make from it, but that I actually can help people in this way, and that people actually come to me because they also want a different avenue to help themselves. They want to be able to take control and to feel empowered. And so I think for me, that would make me feel like I was successful more so than how much money I'm generating from my business.
Okay. So yes, love that. What immediately flipped over was because I went to the crystal deck, and what came out was a crystal that talks about solar light, and it says, "Speak your truth." And Paulomi, this is what it says. It says, "Speak your truth. You have something to say. You have a powerful voice. Speak up. Allow your words to flow from your heart." And that was right here from the very beginning, right? And that's I was like it just flowed all the way down. And that is was also now resonating that it was about your spouse, but now it's about you doing what you love, and then that's going to bring those coins.
Yeah,
That's going to come to you. So it
yeah.
says, allow your words to flow from your heart, ensuring that your communication is authentic to how you feel.
Mm,
Although it can be much easier to let certain things go unsaid, it's important to have those difficult, even sometimes awkward conversations to express yourself and ask for what you really need.
mm,
Articulating your thoughts and feelings to others allows them to understand and honor your truth. So it's like how you were talking about the communication piece, like, well, how do I share what it is
mhm,
that I do with
mhm,
others? But speaking your truth and speaking from your heart.
mhm,
Through your clear, confident communication, others can hear what your heart is really saying.
mhm.
So it's like it's encouraging you to, um, speak the truth. And
Yeah,
that's part of it. Like coming on this show and talking
yeah,
about what it
exactly.
is that you do. Kudos
Yeah.
to you because that's absolutely what's going to happen. And
Mhm,
so I think that that's the whole connection. Speaking from your heart, the coins will flow. Like I said, you continue to hold up the light on that. Like you're going to be steady, everything. You're going to have good fortune, and all of that's going to connect well for you. So with that, the question then next is what is it that you would like to have to support you right now where you're at in your business?
I think um, just more confidence in my own voice for sure, and taking some risks instead of in a sense of putting myself out there because um, with the pandemic, I sort of, am still trying to navigate how to even get myself out there. And I don't really feel like I know Charlotte very well. And so there's a lot of hesitancy just to, sort of speak up and say what I believe in. And I still, I still do feel like the way that I view things and the way, though, how I want to practice is very different in the sense that people don't understand that I'm not going to diagnose. I'm not going through insurance companies. Like, I'm doing things very
Mm-hmm.
differently. So I think it's just really believing and speaking from my heart, like you said, to people, even if I don't feel like they get it or understand or believe or, think the same way I do, that I
Mm-hmm.
stay strong in what I believe in.
Okay. So the question that came in next to from that, what is the last thing you attended in Charlotte in
I,
person?
yeah. So I just went to my first um, networking event, and it's a business, Charlotte Small Businesses, I think is what it's
Mm-hmm.
called. And so I attended an event, and that was the first time that I actually spoke about um, what my website and what I'm putting out there.
Okay.
And it went well. I mean, I was able to say it without stuttering and feeling like, oh
Yes.
my God, nobody's going to understand. And so, because there was a wide variety of people. I mean, there was, somebody that was doing solar power and, people in different fields. So not necessarily, sort of thinking in a holistic way. Some of them were, true
Mm-hmm.
business people. And I still was able to say my vision and what I'm trying to create.
Okay.
So I need to put myself in more of those situations where people actually know who I am.
Okay. Yes, agree. Also, one of the key things that I'm getting insight about as I'm looking kind of at the two, um, which is like the nature. It's not a business setting per se.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it that may have come across your path or something that you could attend that helps you to get to know the environment, the atmosphere, the
Mm-hmm.
city
Mm-hmm.
better? Does something
Yeah.
come to mind?
Well, I was supposed to, there was this Soul Expo this weekend that I was supposed to go to. And that's another thing that I'm trying to, because I have two little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had birthday parties, and so I had to go to that instead of this. So it was called a Soul Expo. And so there was healers there, and there was people like you and coaches,
Mm-hmm.
and spiritual coaches, and just I felt very much in line with what how I believe and how I
Mm-hmm.
want to work with people, but I wasn't able to attend. But I have gotten in contact with the person who organized it,
Yes.
and so in the next there, I mean, it's going to be a recurring event.
Mm-hmm.
So actually being able to speak, and there's where there's like opportunities to be able to speak about a certain topic. And
Yes.
so I think that would be more comfortable me, first of all, because I know that the people that are coming are interested in this and think the way that I do, similar to the
Yes.
way that I do.
Yes.
So, and it'll just be a good way for me to get my name out in that environment.
Yes. Okay. So encouraging you to do that
Yeah.
as
Hmm.
well. Are you familiar with the chakras and the throat chakra?
I am. And
Okay.
I'm trying to do some meditations on um, sort of increasing this or healing the throat chakra, because
Yes.
that's been my issue my whole life, is speaking up for myself, and not being pleasing everybody else. That is my thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Speak your
Yeah.
truth.
Speak
Speak your
my
truth.
truth. Yeah.
Because the two cards that specifically stood out that we're talking about was this. It's blue
Hmm.
and then the whole blue background. And so
Hmm.
what you're talking about, the communication and with that was yes, throat chakra.
Hmm.
That is helping to strengthen that. So I encourage you, you can do that through YouTube,
Hmm.
just simple meditations that'll help you to be able to have that confidence with
Yeah.
that. But then also not only the throat chakra, but the solar plexus, which is
Hmm.
also the yellow and
Hmm.
for strength in the gut and in the brain
Yeah.
area and all of those. So working on those two, I think, will really help you
Yeah.
as you continue to build that confidence and go out and meet and connect with others in the society.
Hmm.
Also, encouraging you to, as you prepare and think about what you're going to wear,
Hmm.
think about something blue.
Okay, blue. Okay.
And even if you have a crystal, if you're able to get a soul night before you go and have that,
Hmm.
if that resonates with you,
Hmm.
as a reminder about speaking your truth, or some other blue crystal that resonates with you, or just
Okay.
having something blue on you, it's blue
Please.
nails, a blue
Okay.
shirt, pants,
Yeah.
or something, in order to help embody that confidence when you get ready to go and speak. And as we say, I think those are things that are going to help steady you and anchor you and continue to have um, strength and guidance for you for that. Um, so yeah, so with that,
Mm.
with the people that are connecting, the people that are watching, let us know how they can reach you. They'd be like, yes, I want to support Paulomi
Yeah.
and connect with her. And like, yes, I'm in the Carolinas and I want to learn more about her coaching. Where can people reach you?
So if you go to my website, it's www.inaratherapy.com. And there's as soon as you go, there's a pop up and you'll get some mindfulness tips. So offer a lot of free resources. So once you add your email address, you'll get, I think it's 6 weeks worth of free resources. So just like some self care tips in terms of how to take care of yourself emotionally, physically, socially,
Okay.
spiritually. So I offer those just to get a sense of who I am and how I practice. And then, then I offer a free 45-minute discovery call. So, if you
Yeah,
take a look at my website and you like some of the things that I offer and you like the way that I practice, and but the most important thing is that we feel connected, because that's where I think the change really occurs, is that you feel connected with the person you're working with.
absolutely.
So that's why I offer the 45-minute discovery call for us to get to know each other. And then I'm also on Instagram at Inara Therapy and Wellness. At Inara Therapy and Wellness is my handle.
Awesome.
So
Love
yes,
it. So connect with Paulomi if that is aligning with you. Thank you so much for coming to this all intuitive conversation and
yes,
letting me learn more about you and you learning
thank
more about me as
yes,
well. And that I encourage you to live smart and ascend to new
thank
levels of success in your business and your work life. Thank you for those that have joined us. And until we meet again next week, aloha.
thank you for having me.
Yep. And just stay on and then we'll play the
Okay.
opera.
Okay.